if you're new here, I'm Anna. This is where I talk about all the books that I read, and today is the first official fall vlog. The sun is shining. It's actually a quite nice day today. It's Monday and I usually don't work on Mondays, so I thought why not film a little vlog, because I was also planning on getting the fall decorations up today, so that might be nice to film. And yeah, I have just gotten ready a little bit because I am meeting my friend Sophie for coffee this morning. It's about 9:30, so I have to leave. And afterwards I'm going to the gym, which I usually do on Mondays. And yeah, that's the plan. Also on Mondays I have my admin day, which means I do everything admin that I have to do, so it doesn't get scattered throughout the week and stresses me after my work day. So we'll be doing that as well today. I am about to finish The Safekeep by van der Wouden, and I think I will finish this today, and that's when I will be talking about my experience with this book, because I have a lot to say as always. But I think I have one chapter left. Yeah, it's only one chapter left in this book, and I am happy to be finishing it today, not gonna lie. More on that later. I will probably also share my fall TBR with you, so the list that I made up in my head of all the books that I would like to read this fall. I will share this list with you later in the video. Yeah, but now I have to get going. I'm gonna ride my bike to the cafe and probably get the first hot dirty chai of the season. See you later. This is the only spot where I can film, and I know that the outside is quite loud, and I know that I have to get a microphone. Bear with me. I will get one. I will get one tonight, actually. I will order one. But as promised, I wanted to share my fall TBR. 3 of the books I actually own and have with me. So I can show them to you. And then there are a few that I don't currently own, or that I'm planning on getting from the library. So yeah, but let's start with the ones that I actually have at home. First up, our October read for the book club. We decided to read a horror novel during October, and we picked House of Leaves, which this book will be a book that I read at home because I cannot bring it anywhere. It's huge. I don't exactly know what it's about, actually. I just know that this is often mentioned when it comes to disturbing horror books and horror books that you have to read. And yeah, 2025 is the year that I will be reading House of Leaves. From what I understand and from what I've seen by actually having a look at the text, it's quite fragmented and the style is very special, I would say. And from what I understand is that this is fiction that is being presented as non-fiction, and I hope I'm right. As I've said, this is just what I have gathered so far. And yeah, I'm excited to read this. I think this will take me quite some time, so I might actually start before October. But I think this will be the perfect book for spooky season. Since House of Leaves will be somewhat of a challenge, I definitely need something quick and comforting that I can also read during spooky season. So I have decided to reread Twilight this year. I have such nostalgia for this book, and I know that I'm not alone in saying that this is one of the books that got me really into reading, and I can't wait to see how it holds up. I think it will be such fun, and let's see if these pages and quotes that I marked are still relevant today, if I still like them. But this will just be my hee hee ha ha read of the spooky season this year. Another reread on my list, and I'm so happy that I'm at this place in my life where I reread books, because I never used to do that. Nowadays, I feel like my perception of reading changed a little bit, and because I am reading so much, I feel like it's easier for me to reread books, just like I rewatch favorite films, for example. And I think for a long time it was all about, okay, I have to read the next book, the next book, the next book. But at this point, I'm fine with going back and rereading some of my favorites, because whenever I do, I have a really great experience. So that's why I'm also very excited for this reread. I have decided to read Wuthering Heights again. This will not be an October spooky read for me. I feel like this will be perfect for November, when the weather is truly just grey and it's raining all day and all you want to do is be inside and read a book. This will be perfect for that. Also, I was definitely inspired by the new film coming out, because I will not watch that. I will boycott that film. So I thought, instead of watching this terrible adaptation, and it will be terrible, I just know it, I will go back to the source, go back to the original, and just have a good time, you know. I love this book. And as I've said, I feel like this is the perfect book also for transitioning between Halloween and Christmas. So yeah, can't wait to pick this up in November. Usually during this time of year, I also read a Stephen King novel, but for some reason it hasn't been on my radar when I thought about which books I wanted to read for fall this year. So I might spontaneously just decide on an audiobook to listen to by Stephen King. So these three are definitely a goal that I want to reach this fall. But then I also have some tentative contestants on my TBR. I was thinking about reading Bury Our Bones in the Midnight Soil by V.E. Schwab. I've never read a V.E. Schwab book. And I don't know, lesbian vampires kind of sound good to me. But also that book is a brick. And I'm not sure if I read House of Leaves, if I have capacity to read another big book, especially because October is already quite busy for me in terms of work and other fun activities. So let's see. But yeah, V.E. Schwab is definitely similar to Stephen King in terms of they are, you know, in my atmosphere, but I'm not sure yet whether I will actually get to them. But yeah, I'm very excited about fall reading. I love fall reading. I love fall. I love everything about this season. I feel like I'm truly myself Yesterday I already had a great fall kickoff by watching 2 horror films. It was perfect on a Sunday afternoon. With my friend Anto, we watched Dracula, the Universal production from the 30s. And we also watched The Changeling from 1980, and it had been on my list ever since last year. And the fall vibes were just chef's kiss. So definitely also planning on watching a lot of films during fall. I am also, of course, already rewatching Gilmore Girls because that has to happen every year. Definitely let me know in the comments what's on your fall TBR. I'm always curious to see what people are reading this time of year. And I think I will actually manage to put up my fall/Halloween decorations tonight. But for now, I will go sit on the sofa and finish the safekeep. I have a few pages left. I did a little bit of reading before I left this morning because I was running early for my coffee date. But yeah, I would definitely finish it now. And then I have to decide whether I want to maybe already start with House of Leaves, just to, yeah, make sure that I'll manage to read this in time for book club. But I also feel like I forgot a book on my fall TBR, so maybe I have to go back and check my GOODREADS once I finished the safekeep. But finishing the safekeep for me definitely brings summer reading to a close. And I had such a great time reading this summer with reading John Steinbeck, and after that I read The Colony, which was also amazing. So yeah, happy to wrap up my summer reading, which was quite good, and dive into fall. Soon, but I wanted to take some time to talk about the safekeep, which I finished yesterday, and I promised you a little review, so here we go. I have to say, and this is a very strong statement, but I think this is the biggest disappointment of my reading year so far. It makes me a little bit sad. I was looking forward to reading this book for such a long time. I heard such great things. The premise sounded right up my alley. This is about 2 women in the Netherlands after the Second World War. One of them, Isabel, she lives in this big house in the countryside, and Ava comes to stay with her. Ava is actually Isabel's brother's girlfriend. And he has to go away on some business trip, so he leaves Ava with Isabel at this big house. And they don't get along whatsoever, especially Isabel is very mean to Ava in the beginning, stemming from being very particular about her routines, about the house, about all the things that are in the house, like cutlery and dishes and so forth. And yeah, they just don't get along. But things change, and since they are forced to live together and are always in close proximity, things kind of change between them. I was so excited to read this because, first of all, as I've said, the premise sounded good. It's a queer story, which I love. It's set in the Netherlands, which I love, of course. And I had heard so many great things about this book because also it was shortlisted for the Women's Prize. It was nominated for so many other prizes. And this is a debut novel. So I thought, oh my God, this has to be very special. People kept telling me that it's such a special book. And I know where that comes from. I can understand how people really, really loved this. I just have to say it wasn't my book. I thought the writing was beautiful. Of course, this is translated. I wish my Dutch was good enough to have read this in the original, but it isn't. So yeah, this is translated, but still the prose was so beautiful. I loved her writing style, but I have to say the pacing was off for me. I feel like especially the first two parts were so slow and sort of dragged you along that I got kind of bored eventually. Another factor that had me bored quite a bit was that especially in the second part there were so many sex scenes. It was just scene after scene after scene, and they were so explicit. And I'm, don't get me wrong, I'm not a prude at all. I don't mind sex scenes in general. It was just too much. Nothing else was happening except for you had like maybe 1 or 2 pages where they were cooking or riding their bikes or something, and then they were, at it again. And these scenes were so long every time. And I thought, okay, is this all I'm gonna be reading about? It felt like a romance book, just the literary fiction version of it. I don't know. It was too much for me, and it had me bored. I wanted to read about other stuff, not about them just, going on and on and on. I mean, good for them, but... And finally, there was a twist. I would call it a twist, even though this is, of course, not a thriller or something, but there was a twist. And the twist was actually quite good. However, I saw it coming from miles away. So again, I was a bit bored. I'm sorry. And then also the ending was not that satisfying. I feel like things just kind of mellowed out. And I think especially after this twist, there were so many creative options how this book could have ended, but none of them were chosen. I mean, not me telling the author how to end her book, but just to say that the ending wasn't that satisfying to me either. Yeah, sad times, sad times. But again, I can see how people love this. I can see how this is so successful. If you were planning on reading this, definitely give it a go. It just wasn't for me. And then last night, I started this one, and as I was reading, because I was just beginning the book, so I was reading it like this in bed, my wrist was hurting so much. I have to figure out a way how to read this. in terms of physicality. Logistics. I need to plan the logistics of reading this book. I read the introduction. I have to say I was quite scared because this introduction set you up to read the story that follows the introduction, but it kept telling you that you will go mad eventually when you read this. I was like, oh my god, am I getting cursed? You know how these people are scared of getting cursed when they're watching the new Conjuring movie at the cinema? It's like, is this happening to me? Am I getting cursed by this book? I mean, obviously I'm not, but... And then this morning I read a little bit, and I have to say, it's so dense. Oh, let's see. I am very curious to see how this reading experience will go. If I have to tap out, I will tell you. And then I mentioned this yesterday when I was talking about my fall TBR, and I kept forgetting books that I put on there in my mind, and I forgot 2 books actually. I was planning to also read We Used to Live Here, which is a horror novel, and I've heard such great things about this, and it's been on my TBR for quite some time now. And then also Lila Sage, who wrote my favorite cowboy series. She's coming up with a new book at the end of September actually. And again, it's a romance, but it's like a supernatural romance. So I'll be reading that on my Kindle at night in bed. I have to pre-order it, I think, but I'm very excited. I need a hee-hee ha-ha book, you know? I'm reading this, okay? I need a hee-hee ha-ha book before going to sleep. I can't read this before going to sleep, I think. So yeah, these are the 2 books that I forgot to mention. I put up my fall decorations last night. You saw a little bit of that, and I realized I'm missing some pieces, so I might go shopping for more fall decorations soon. I will take you along because I think for now this is where I will end the vlog, and then I will vlog continuously through fall because this is just a perfect time to vlog and do some fun activities. I have to go to TK Maxx and check out the Halloween decorations as well. So yeah, that's what we'll be doing soon. I just checked the weather report and the entire week will be sunny. So this really is the nicest fall weather that you could get. I hope it stays with us a little bit. I'm not ready yet to spend every day in my rain jacket, so fingers crossed. As always, if you liked this little vlog, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel, especially if you want to see more fall content. And yeah, I will be seeing you in the next one. Bye!